Good morning. My name is Barbara Lipton, and I first joined this congregation in 1998, so I've been a member a minute. For those of you that are not here, you can picture me as an 82-year-old woman. It says I'm mature in the script, but I don't know that all of you would agree with that. Whether you are old or young, gay or straight, or identify in another manner, whether you're on top of the world or perhaps in the dumps today, we welcome you. If you are visiting for the first time, we warmly welcome you and invite you to stay for coffee hour. Coffee hour, please take a red cup so that we will know that you are a visitor or a guest, and we will then be able to identify you and talk to you. Be sure to look in our order of service, which is this. On the back, there are lots of events this week, lots of them, 2 or 3 every single day. Please know that all of our meetings are open to you, and we invite you to join us for them. I have another script here. We have a huge thank you from the UFEB Fellowship for their gracious donations to the Fellsmere immigration community. Lisa Hansen made 3 trips to Fellsmere with our donations, and Maria Martinez from the Migrants Association is very grateful for our assistance in these trying times. UUFVB is a loving and awesome community. There are 2 social justice movies this week, one on Tuesday called Band Together, The Fight Against Censorship, and on Friday there's one, Barbara of Little Rock. We invite you to join with any of them. And today after service at 11:30, Rev Tom is offering the first of a 6-week class on obstacles and opportunity for spiritual growth. That'll be upstairs in the Olympia boardroom. And this week is something special nationally. Tomorrow is what used to be called Columbus Day, but is now considered to be Indigenous Peoples Day. Any of you that know me know that I was married to a Native American for 31 years, and both of my adopted children were from different tribal backgrounds. But what I really want you to know is that here in Vero Beach, they found the remains of an indigenous person over near the canal, and they had events here at the Emerson Center many, many times during the early 2000s for the indigenous person who is called Vero Man, who is thought to be between 20 and 30,000 years old. Think about that. I know some of you were members then and were at those events. And I know that some of you are not familiar with what happened here at the Emerson Center in those days, and that the remains were found in the early 1900s, and we had events here in the early 2000s. So look it up on your Google. Vero Man is what he's called. Thank you.
I'm still getting used to this change, okay? So we decided to try this for a while, doing the greeting one another at this point in the service. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to look around for a moment and see people that you know and people that you don't know, or people who've never been here before. And particularly key on those people you've never seen before. And say good morning and greet one another. Let us build beloved community.
next, right?
Yes, you are. I'm
Okay.
gonna ding the dong.
Ding the dong. Here comes the gong. Oh. So I chose our introit in honor of the Indigenous People Day, Ancient Mother.
Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears.
It is our tradition to light a chalice at the beginning of our services and to say some words that are meaningful to us as we gather. So if you will join me. Welcome, all who seek renewal in a weary world. Welcome, all who come with love and energy to share. Welcome to those who worry for the future. Welcome each one who is grateful for today. Know that in this place you are not alone. Know that in this place responsibility is shared. Here tradition holds us. Ancestors shine a light from the past. Here we keep the flame of love burning bright.
Our first hymn this morning is number 276, O Young and Fearless Prophet. I just noticed that, oh no, it is correct. We're doing verses 1, 3, and 4. The last one we're doing 2, 3, and 4. That's right. Please rise as you are willing and able.
O young and fearless prophet of ancient Galilee, your life is still a summons to serve humanity, to make our thoughts and actions less prone to please the crowd, to stand with humble courage for truth with hearts unbowed. Create in us the splendor that dawns when hearts are kind, that knows not race nor station as boundaries of the
a story for you this morning. This tale begins shortly after the time of Jesus' life. It involves Paul, who was instrumental in creating the religion about Jesus. On an otherwise ordinary spring day, in the otherwise unnoteworthy town of Iconium, on an otherwise unremarkable young woman named Thecla was preparing for her upcoming wedding when a most extraordinary event unfolded. As Thecla sat at her window, a proper distance from the throng on the street, she could still hear the events down below on the streets. A teacher named Paul had come to town, preaching miracles and a new way of thinking about God. His words rang true and with clarity to Thecla, and as she listened, she was mesmerized. She would not move from the window and refused to proceed with her scheduled wedding. Thamirius, her future husband, reported the incident to the governor, and Paul was swiftly arrested, bound, and held in prison for questioning related to interfering with Thamirius' wedding. But so captivated was Thecla by Paul's teachings that she snuck over to the prison, bribed her way past the guards, and sat with Paul and listened as he shared. Paul, just to say, was not really a fan of women. But he did not discourage her. When Thecla's mother and her betrothed discovered her missing, they searched until they found her at Paul's prison cell. She was left to wallow on the floor of Paul's prison while Paul was dragged before the governor. The governor listened to Paul's story and was so impressed that he let Paul go. His only concern then was Thecla's refusal to marry. So Thecla was judged, and it was determined that she would be burned alive at the stake. Good grief is right. From here, the story becomes somewhat fantastical and mythological. As the flames began to rise, a miraculous rainstorm drenched the fire and saved Thecla. And Thecla escaped, fleeing Iconium in search of Paul. She finds Paul eventually and follows him to Antioch. While in Antioch, she is approached by a young magistrate who is captivated by her beauty. But she rebuffs him. He attempts to force her to come with him, and she defends herself. It was uncalled for at that time. So he has her arrested. And she is again facing death for her refusal. Three times, she is thrown before wild beasts, including man-eating seals. There are such things. And 3 times she comes forth alive. Finally, the governor of Antioch asks Thecla for her story and is so moved that he releases her. Thecla then moves into the caves in the wilderness, where she is joined by a community of women also seeking refuge. And Thecla decides to guide these women, preach to these women, teach these women, baptize these women, and heal these women. Women who didn't want to follow the convention of the time, didn't want to wed men that they were being forced to wed, and didn't want to be told by men what to believe. Thecla lived her long life in this community of women spiritual seekers. So ends our tale of Thecla. And now we will sing the children out to their classes. We're going to get some rails here soon, just so I don't fall as I'm coming here. This is a time in our service when we acknowledge that we come together with our own joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. Before me is water, the very sustenance of life. Water can buoy you up, nourish, cleanse, and replenish you. The source of life, which creates beauty in the very making of tears. This community, like water, is part of the sustenance of our lives, especially when we remember our sacred obligation to buoy each other up in times of sadness, to nourish one another in times of want, to cleanse one another with acts of kindness and generosity, and to replenish one another when our hearts are weary and worn. Today, with this water, we remind ourselves visually of our sacred obligation to this community. I add some salt for the tears that have fallen in the last week. May we remember that there are those among us in pain. So let us be tender with one another, for we do not know what is in the silent sanctuary of one another's hearts. And I add some flowers to remind us of the beauty and joy that surrounds us in our lives, that floats on the faces of many of our faces and enlivens our spirits. In a moment, I will invite those who find it meaningful to come forward and place a stone in one of our bowls. But for those who wish, I will place a stone for you if you raise your hand. Now, those who find it meaningful, please come forward. that we offer one another keep us connected and blessed within this hour and within the week ahead. Amen.
This is the time in our service where we express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources. The contributions to the fellowship can be placed in the envelopes in front of you in the back of the pews, or with a donation to the UUFVB. Yes, if you scan on this, you can do it by your cell phones. Today, our sharing of substances is one of our social justice outreach services. On the second Sunday of each month, the loose change is placed in the offertory basket, supports the food pantry from Indian River County, and our fellowship's monthly meal for transition housing. The non-perishable food items and toiletries that you brought today are delivered to the Indian River Food Pantry. They're down here, or if you have them in your car, please bring them in later. The loose cash offering finances the meals for people in transitional housing. Our fellowship meals team prepares and delivers meals to 3 transitional housing programs each month: Camp Haven, James Arthur Court, and Naomi's Place. These agencies provide formerly homeless people, men and women, with interim housing. As we now receive the offering, let's do it with generosity and gratefulness. Thank you.
And now we move into a time of prayer, meditation, reflection. And today I want to share with you something from early Christianity, a Coptic Christian text written before 350 of the Common Era, called The Thunder Perfect Mind. It was discovered in the Nag Hammadi Library in 1945, and it speaks about the divine in paradoxical terms. as both honored and cursed, as life and death, as both the cause of peace and war. The poem also emphasizes the idea that the divine exists both inside and outside of oneself. It highlights the ideas of duality and the interconnectedness of opposing forces. It reminds me of the writings of the Tao Te Ching and of a Buddhist koan. So what I invite you to do, which is a little different this morning, is try not to focus on the words or trying to make sense of the words, but focus instead on what rises up within you as you listen. All right, so now let us enter into this time of meditation or contemplation. You might take a deep, slow breath. You might let your eyes close or rest. Hands rest comfortably in your lap. And listen to the stirrings within. I am the first and the last. I am the honored one and the scorned one. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the mother and the daughter. I am the members of my mother. I am the barren one, and many are her sons. I am she whose wedding is great, and I have not taken a husband. I am the midwife, and she who does not bear. For I am knowledge and ignorance, I am shame and boldness, I am shameless and shamed. I am strength and I am fear, I am war and peace. Give heed to me. I am within, I am of the creation of the spirits. I am control and the uncontrollable. I am the union and the dissolution. I am the one below, and they come up to me. I am the judgment and the acquittal. I am sinless, and the root of sin derives from me. I am lust in outward form, and interior self-control exists within me. I am the hearing which is attainable to everyone, and the speech which cannot be grasped. I am a mute who does not speak, and great is my multitude of words. Hear me in gentleness and learn of me in roughness. I prepare the bread and thy mind within. I am the knowledge of thy name. I am the one who is called truth and iniquity. May what stirs within you during this time offer you a blessing.
Folks say there was a man named Jesus, and that there is little doubt that he had a way of thinking every person should try out. But not long after this man's words across the land began to spread, influential men of power started twisting what he said. Don't judge your neighbor
unless you're looking in the mirror.
It doesn't matter one bit if they didn't come from here. Feed the hungry.
You might be hungry one day too.
Not every person on this planet is as fortunate as you. Now it's 2,000 years later, and some say it's getting worse. These men are only getting louder and increasingly perverse. So let's take a moment to make sure it's not all misconstrued, 'cause it never hurts to go back to a subject and review. Don't judge your neighbor
Unless you're looking in the mirror.
It doesn't matter one bit if they didn't come from here. Feed the hungry.
You might be hungry one day too.
Not every person on this planet is as fortunate as you. You don't have to be a Christian to take on this point of view. Let us not forget that Jesus is a Muslim prophet too. Did you know that's really true? You can be a Hindu,
Vegan,
Catholic, or arthropod. You don't even have to believe in a higher power God. Don't judge your neighbor
unless you're looking in the mirror.
It doesn't matter one bit if they didn't come from here. Feed the hungry.
You might be hungry one day too.
Not every person on this planet is as fortunate as you. Now as this song comes to a close and we all go along our ways, it's important to remember there are coming better days. If we all just take a moment to remember what is best. We are all just human beings. No one's better than the rest.
It is extremely hard to follow that, just to let you know. Okay. In the early days after the death of Jesus, there was no such thing as the religion of Christianity. What most people did who were interested in Jesus, well, they would get together, eat, and discuss his life and teachings. Early Christianity was an oral tradition. The stories about Jesus and even his teachings changed as each person talked about them. Each teller of one of Jesus' stories would add a little here or emphasize a little there, putting a little of themselves into the story, as all storytellers do. And thus, there were many different interpretations of Jesus at the time, even more so than there are today. Theologians believe that the books of the New Testament, Christian New Testament, were not written until 40 years or more after Jesus' death, and some were written hundreds of years after his death. Much of the written information we have today has both been intentionally and unintentionally altered over the almost 2,000 years since the Jesus stories were written about. As time passed, and Paul, formerly Saul of Tarsus, and others created a religion about Jesus, and as this religion developed, there were internal conflicts about the divinity of Jesus. Some held that Jesus was a man, a blessed by God man, a prophet perhaps. Others believe he was divine, one with God. In 325 AD, at the Council of Nicaea, the leaders of this developing religion of Christianity decided that Jesus was fully divine and all other beliefs were heresy. Those who believed that Jesus was a man blessed by God, a prophet, well, they were our Unitarian forebears. What I'd like to do today, at least in part, is give you a more complete view of what early Jesus followers were like by sharing Christian texts that did not end up in the canon of the New Testament of the Christian religion. I believe there is much we can glean from these texts, both in terms of understanding early Christianity and in terms of what they might offer us on our own personal spiritual journey. Many of those non-canonical texts were destroyed as Christianity developed. They were considered heretical writings. However, in 1945, a catch of these early writings was found in Nag Hammadi, a village in Upper Egypt, thus the Egypt tie, for those who were questioning me this morning. It was theorized that these texts were buried near a monastery by some of the monks who believed that these writings should not be destroyed. When the texts were found, they were not all complete. But the ones we have give us a very different view of the impact of Jesus on the lives of the people at the time. One of those texts was the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is just sayings of Jesus. It's the entire text. Let me share one of them with you. Let the ones who seek continue seeking until he finds. And when that one finds, he will be disturbed. And once the one is disturbed, he will become awed and will rule as king over all. Could this saying hold any meaning for Unitarian Universalists? Perhaps. We are all seekers here. That's the very essence of our faith. To seek truth and meaning individually and collectively, to share that meaning with one another, and be enriched and sometimes disturbed by one another. Unitarian Universalists examine many things closely. Ourselves, each other, the universe around us, and we're often awed by what we see. And we see our lives as not being static, our beliefs not being static. We don't even see the universe as being static. And if some of us believe in a divinity or God, chances are we don't believe that is static either. Now, Unitarian Universalists have no interest in ruling as kings, but many do perceive ourselves as co-creators and interdependent with the beauty and wonder that surrounds us. Here's another quote from the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said to his followers, "Compare and tell me whom I resemble." Simon Peter said, "You are like a righteous angel." And Matthew said, "You are like a wise philosopher." Thomas said, "Teacher, my mouth will not permit me to say whom you resemble." And Jesus said, "I am not your teacher. You are drunk. Because you drank from the bubbling spring I have measured out." And he took Thomas and departed, And when Thomas came back to his companions, they asked him, "What did Jesus say to you?" Thomas said to them, "If I told you the things that he told me, you would take up stones and cast them at me, and fire would burst out of the stones and burn you." As I read that, I thought, whatever Jesus said to Thomas must have blown his mind. What I take away from the text is that each of us has the opportunity to take in what we hear and make our own meaning from it. But Jesus is also saying to be aware when you hear teachers, preachers, and others sharing their beliefs, that they may be presenting their beliefs in a certain way, a way that might lead you to a certain idea or belief or understanding that they may be trying to convince you to hold. And if you wholly embrace their ideas or belief without question or self-reflection, then you are not thinking and making meaning for yourself. It's very similar to something that Buddha taught. Buddha stressed personal wisdom over blind belief in any teacher, including himself, emphasizing you have to be intelligent and not dependent on your teacher. Earlier, I shared with you a summary of another early Christian text, the Acts of Paul and Thecla. As you probably guessed from the story, Thecla was what we might refer to today as a feminist. She bucked the social system of her time, choosing her own spiritual path regardless of consequences. And as you heard, there were consequences. Threats of jail, even being put to death, or at least trying to put Thecla to death. Many women of the time followed her, developing a community of support and affirming the rights of women to be leaders and ministers of the Christian faith. Thecla was the first woman to baptize anyone, at least as the story goes. She baptized herself as she blessed the water containing the man-eating seals, and so the seals did not attack her. There are many, many artifacts and paintings that lead theologians to believe her sect continued to at least into the 5th century. Here's a passage from the Gospel of Mary, another Nag Hammadi text. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all, saying, "Peace be with you. Bear my peace within yourselves. Beware that one lead you astray, saying, 'Look over here,' or 'Look over there.' For the child humanity is within you. Follow it. Those who seek it will find it. Go then and proclaim the good news of the realm." The Gospel of Mary is the first and only gospel. A gospel is a text about the teachings and life of Jesus, whose main figure is a woman, Mary Magdalene, who was portrayed as a confidant of Jesus. The focus of the teaching of this gospel is enthusiasm for becoming a true human being. What a radical gospel. And Mary, a woman, being presented as a leader of the early church. Of course, the Gospel of Mary wasn't contained in the New Testament. And of course, Mary has been presented in some traditional Christian churches as a prostitute. to denigrate her or discredit her significance. Nowhere in the Christian New Testament does it say anything about her being a prostitute. Just the stories that have been passed around. Now I have a question for you. One that one of our forebears asked. Unitarian Universalist, or not Universalist, he was Unitarian forebear Theodore Parker. He asked this question in his sermon called The Transient and Permanent in Christianity, which he preached in 1841. He said, would the Christian New Testament, and I would add these writings of early Christianity, be equally true or false, even if it could be shown that Jesus of Nazareth had never lived? Whether or not you believe Jesus existed is up to you. But of course, we don't know really if Lao Tzu or Buddha really existed either. But that, hopefully, you'll talk about during coffee hour. Instead, focus on the teachings, the parables, the poetry of the New Testament and of these texts from Nag Hammadi. Would these writings still hold meaning for you, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, if it was found that Jesus had never existed? My answer for myself, and I can only in Unitarian circles answer for myself, I'd say they would, for me. For some Unitarian Universalists, exploring these, particularly these non-canonical Christian texts, might be a way to begin exploring Christianity with different eyes, and perhaps even a different heart. You might approach these texts, I've shared some of them with you today, like you approach the Tao Te Ching, exploring them without concern of whether Lao Tzu existed or not. Unitarian Universalism's foundation is Christianity. Our forebears were Christian, yet unorthodox, often considered heretical Christians, but Christians nonetheless. Our forebears looked at Christian text with an open mind and an open heart. They didn't want others to interpret the teachings of Jesus for them. We can be like these early Christians, exploring these texts with fresh eyes, opening ourselves to some of these teachings as if they were something new and different. We can do this together or individually. My friends, I know we are atheists, humanists, Jews, Buddhists, Christians, pagans, and seekers here. We're not looking for a conversion experience. We're looking for ideas to engage with, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, historically, however, and either by ourselves or together. Here's one last quote from the Gospel of Thomas. His followers said, "Show us the place where you are, because it is necessary that we seek it." And Jesus said to them, "Whoever has ears to hear, hear. There is light within a person of light, and that one can light up the entire world. If that one does not shine, there is darkness." My friends, you are seekers, and you are the people of the light. Your light is the Spirit which comes from you as you live out your heart of hearts, as you see the world and the universe in all its awe-inspiring wonder. So I invite you, go forth, seeking, finding, and being the light that the world needs right now to hold back the darkness. Amen.
And our final hymn is Our World is One World. This one's verses 2, 3, and 4. Please rise as you are willing and able.
As we part from one another, let these words carry your thoughts out into the world. If that which is most holy lies within the human person, and if the greatest power in the world shines flickering and uncertain in each human heart, then it is easy to see the value of human associations dedicated to nurturing the light. The couple, the family, the religious community. For the power of good is in any of us, and it will waver from time to time. But when a group together is dedicated to nurturing the power of good, it is rare that the light grows dim in all of us at the same moment. So we borrow courage and wisdom from one another to keep us warm and to keep us until we gather together again. So my friends, keep the light, keep the courage we offer one another until we see each other again. Amen.